Oh, Dwayne will be late for this.
And Amanda is on her way. She said she was coming, but she is on her way.
So this is for late.
Okay, so I don't know who did this. Please dispose of these.
What are those?
I don't know.
Oh, goodness, but yours are cute as an L. I didn't.
Can we see it first before we shred it?
It's underneath somebody put one in every spot.
Oh, really?
I think Cajun knows.
Ah, here it is.
Okay.
Are these for like, if we get one in a certain way, we want a prize? Is it kind of like that? Do you
Yes.
If you put it in front of a mirror, you know, what is it?
That's right.
We're recording, we're recording.
Alright.
Look like
Okay.
you put a few pounds on there. You know, you started to eat Christmas cookies already. Doesn't quite look like it.
Syrup on their cereal and.
Well, you know, like,
Free every Tuesday night.
who was it? Oh, it was Elf, where he'd like to put like syrup in his sugar and on the spaghetti or something. It was
Yeah.
like all crazy.
And one of the major food groups.
Exactly. Okay, so it is 5 o'clock. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and open the work session. For purposes of are we recording?
Yes.
Thank you. So purposes of the recording, I will just take a roll call for the work session. Mary Smith. Here. Rich Barrows.
Here.
Alex Sassoon.
Yeah.
Thank you. And we have Rob is coming, Dwayne is coming, and Amanda is coming. So we'll just wait on those guys to come. And then Dennis, did you want to get going?
It's up to you. I mean,
Okay.
I think that regardless of how much we accomplish this evening, we're gonna be looking at one more
Okay.
work session, so. We shouldn't rush through it tonight just to get done, and if we wanna wait an extra 5 or 10 minutes, I'm okay with that, but we can always circle back on.
I think we can circle back. We might, because there's a lot to go through, and I think a good hour will make a difference.
Okay. Okay, first things first, the updated CIP charts are here for you. We're nearly complete, I say we, with the updating the explanations on the back, yeah, but they're not back. So I wanted you to have these tonight to take with you. And then we also did a summary for each of the funds. That's this packet here. And we punched holes so you could just stick it right in your notebook and take it with you. And this is what we're gonna be going through this evening. And then this is an updated version of this, but it's not complete because we wanna make sure we reflect the latest numbers after we have a discussion tonight.
So I'm sorry, what were you saying about this one? This isn't the latest numbers you said.
Ones I just handed out.
Okay.
Okay, but we're gonna be going through this as a guide, the description and narrative. And we're going to,
It should be in one of your, you got it, okay.
we're gonna key that to this updated numbers list, okay?
Okay.
I'm gonna pause.
Here's Amanda.
Hi,
Hi, Amanda.
I had to go track down newborn children at bus stops.
You were herding cats.
I know, seriously. I say that to myself often. Look at my friends who like to live for me. I'm like vacation and Southern golf this weekend. I'm like, oh. I'm chasing at the bus stops. I'm sure they do too. If they have to.
We'll just sit here and eat candy. With our mouths closed.
Yeah, good. Then we can zoom through our work meeting because we'll all be high on sugar.
There you go.
Mhm. So Amanda, you have updated document there. We were just gonna go through some things.
This is
on the
this is the one
sense
we're
for what-
working on.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, these summary sheets provide a narrative in each of the funds and the highlights of the numbers that basically have changed or we were asked additional information. The other services line item in the general fund is a good example under administration and what that included. So we're gonna go through that today. The revenues, we've applied a conservative 2% revenue growth on the town's general fund revenue sources for 2026. We expect that the beginning balance for the general fund will be $3,260,254.51, and that will be 67.2% of the proposed expenditures. Under the expenditures, our wages, the COLA increase of 2.75% is going to be awarded to all employees that have a satisfactory performance evaluation on file. A merit increase pool is being proposed that would represent a 3% increase to be awarded at the discretion of the town administrator, dependent upon a 2026 performance evaluation. So as an employee of the town, if I have my performance evaluation in April, then that's when I would be eligible to receive the 3% bump based on my performance evaluation.
So are you doing performance evaluations on your staff? Based on, or at the end of the year, this now in preparation for, or are you doing it based on their hire date?
Higher date.
Okay.
So everybody that has a satisfactory evaluation on file right now will be eligible for the COLA. And then when their anniversary comes back around, they'll have another performance evaluation, which they could then be awarded the 3%. And I can guarantee you that that 3%, if approved by the board, will be in excess of what we will use, just because of the timing of these evaluations and also it's probably pretty hard for every employee to reach the top level that would qualify for the highest 3%.
Okay, can we back up just for a second?
Mhm.
On your second bullet under revenues. That amount and that percentage. We had agreed at a previous meeting that we wanted in our reserves. 30%, was that not?
That's what we had said.
So what would, do the math for me, what are we? What is that? Because that, you know, this looks too. Cush.
Usually,
It is too cush, but once we get to the point where we have all of our capital numbers inputted into this, this will come down. But it's not gonna come down all the way. But then it would be the board's decision what to do with the cush.
Cush, I like it.
And you could allocate that to a future project. And then it would become, we could create another fund, we could add a line item that's in the capital improvement fund. We could make a contribution to the capital improvement fund, so it sits in that fund going forward and is allocated only to capital. There are a lot of options, we just haven't, I have not sat down and thought, what would be the best option to recommend to you, because I don't know what that number is yet. Okay, if it comes down to it's close to more like 40%, I may just say, let's leave it at 40% and then carry it forward.
on 5, I think.
Okay, now to get right to the other services, Mary, this is a question that you brought up at the last work session. Other services under the general, the administration, I think it's line item that ends with 390. Okay. That did not include all of the expenses that we have had to date that fall under that, so Kasia did a search. And we've come up with it a little over $67,000. We have actual, we expect to have at the end of the year, a little over 94,000. We budgeted 50. So that's gonna be a number that exceeds the budget number. The services that are paid, that have been paid out of that were the interim town administrators contract, our accounting services contract with Lorraine, Axiom IT Services, and Freestone 2025. We anticipate that we will be using at least the accounting services Axiom and Freestone to some extent next year, but not the interim town administrator, so we're recommending a budget of 50,000 instead of trying to reach the 94,000.
And so not necessarily for this particular budget meeting, as we're discussing numbers, but and maybe it's in here, or maybe you're including it in something later on in the meeting, the regular meeting. I would like to see what the services are that we anticipate in that accounting services area specifically. And even Axiom, because we'll continue with Axiom. Freestone obviously is out, and like you said, our town administrator is out. So I'd like to see more of an operational perspective as to how that impacts us, so that we know how that impacts us with the rest of staff.
Okay, I have estimated 30,000 for the year. And I won't be able to nail down that number until I actually sit down with Lorraine and talk about a scope for what she's gonna be doing going forward. One new thing that I have discussed with her doing in 26 is an audit of our STRs to see why we are not receiving the revenue that we expect. And she has said that that'd be a good project. She'd love to do that. So I don't have a quote from her on predicted hours and that kind of stuff. I won't know if
Yeah, like a bad project and other services
Sure.
that she's continuing to provide, or that she's, transitioning, so
Yeah.
however that all goes.
Just
Like
a
I said,
brief detail.
yeah, it doesn't have to be.
Okay.
Right. You look like you're smoking a pipe.
what else do.
That's what I was gonna say, yeah.
Okay. The other thing of note is that in personnel, we are proposing that the board approve a split with the marketing and events manager, a 75-25 split with the BPC. That is new. BPC has talked about this many times. They just have not had a quorum where they were able to actually vote on their budget yet, but they endorsed this concept.
What was it previously?
100%.
It was 100%, okay.
This will free up some money in the BPC's budget to devote towards marketing initiatives or media services. And I think it's also appropriate because she has communications background, and we need that kind of communication support within our general administrative staff.
Correct.
Okay, Parks Department personnel. The board approved an FTE to help Kevin this current fiscal year. And we went through, and when I arrived, Beth was trying to figure out how to free up some money in the parks budget to support that. And when we sat down with Kevin, we were too close to hiring on some part-time seasonals, so we just said, we're gonna wait. And so that person now is Bob. He's been put in that position full-time because we had the money in the last month of the year. And so we just have included funding under the Parks Department budget for an additional FTE.
So is the intention that he's going to stay on in that position?
Bless you.
Thank you.
And to his credit, he has 3 broken ribs and something else going on right now, but he's still at work, doing work, and that's devotion. Commitment. I wouldn't do that. Municipal court funding, this is a shot in the dark, actually. We had really no court costs this year, but we had a budget for that for municipal court. And now that we've worked our way through to the point where we are laying out how we're gonna be prosecuting infractions here with our IGA when it's approved, we have inserted monies identical to the current budget for next year so that we can plan for that and pay for those court costs. A prosecutor is gonna be necessary, but that prosecutor is only gonna be paid on a per case basis. So if they have to go over there and do something in front of the county judge, then they will have to be paid on an hourly rate, and Jerry's working on that right now.
Is there a way that they can write the cases in on the same day? I mean, I know this isn't going to take away from the price, the cost, but does it have to be separated for municipal now? I mean, depending on how they're writing the tickets, cases, whatever, just to be more efficient with their time, court's time, deputies' time, judges' time.
That's the
Can they
plan.
all be written,
That's the plan.
you know?
So, Jerry in the IGA spent a significant amount of time outlining how that's gonna work under the IGA. And has talked a couple of times with the county judge. And she's willing to augment the ticketing practices of the sheriff's office to include a box or some way to indicate this is a Georgetown case. And then they will be adjudicated by the county, and you're gonna take action to actually appoint the county judge tonight, hopefully. And that means we won't have to start up our own municipal court, which will save us a whole bunch of money, and then it will also have one prosecutor working with one judge and one county court. And I assume from what I've heard from Jerry, that they work that way, that they try to group their cases together so that prosecutors aren't just running back and forth from down the hill or from wherever their offices are.
Well, I think it'll help too, just from the deputy to the standpoint that they're not going back and forth into court 3 or 4 days. Because it's a Georgetown case, because it's a county case, or now it's a, kind of thing, it's just, so.
Right, so the message on the municipal court budget is I'm taking a shot at, but I don't know
It's really
exactly
hard.
that's in the hospital. Sure. Okay, that's it for the general fund. Was there anything in the actual line items that you saw that needed questions?
And that's the blue sheets.
Yep.
Well, like, I had a question, like, in general, we're anticipating 2% revenue growth, but like building permits, we're expecting to have go from 35,000 to 50,000 in building permits. It's 1032,
Under the buildings department?
yeah, licenses and permits.
Is that the-
That's under
What was the
revenue.
code? What line are you on?
What are
It's 1032 dash 100
in revenue?
Right here.
on the
that's
revenue side. Is that because of county building services, which we haven't decided on yet?
I put that number in because I'm anticipating that we're gonna have additional revenue in terms of code enforcement violations and fines.
Oh,
And that's just one little update, that's not gonna make a huge difference, but also we're getting more aggressive. Remember, halfway through the year, we had a moratorium, so we couldn't do anything, right?
right,
So I'm just anticipating that will be slightly higher.
okay.
But so permits haven't been issued yet on the next phase of Bighorn, or have they?
Okay.
Nor have any
Across the
permits been
street.
issued on across the street, you know.
No, not one has.
Yeah, that
He
makes
has
sense.
permits already? Okay.
And then a month or two ago, you were looking into that bringing safe bill back for some of the code enforcement. Is that number included in here at this point?
It is to our best of our ability to predict what that number is going to be. Right now, Safe Build is ramping up a person to do that work. And that's the only thing that's holding us back from implementing.
But it was it was on a schedule. It was what, once a month or I don't even remember.
Oh,
Yeah, it comes up once a week,
Okay,
so it was 8 hours a week, and then he was, I think it was like 1,600 a month. When we had Jake here for a little bit. Jake.
and that was, yeah,
Jake from Safeco.
Jay from Safeco. So, but that was sufficient time to address the needs that we had. So we're not expanding on that 8-hour week or 4 times a month or whatever, okay?
No, cause he would come up, he would, go out and look for code violations, he would write the letters and send them to people and follow up on the ones that he had.
Yeah.
And then he gives people time to respond,
Sure.
so.
But I do see that line item, 391 is $2,000. So we need to bump that up a bit.
So what line?
Right here, under building department. Page 4, yep. Bottom line, 391,
There.
contract services, code enforcement.
And you're gonna bump it up to,
I have a.
oh, right,
Okay.
We might have in here slightly less, he actually was like really effective at getting people to comply. And kind of ran out of things for him, like to do for 8 hours a day, so might be every other week.
Okay. Moving on, if you have any additional questions after chewing on this overnight, then we can bring them up to me and we can address those as quickly as we can. Under the fire maintenance fund, that's the next page that's. We derive our revenue for the
So wait,
fire,
what page are you on?
this one, this
This,
fire station maintenance fund. We derive revenue from the rental of the Verizon cell tower. And it's approximately $18,071 per month. That does not fluctuate too much
A month.
per year.
Oh, okay.
The beginning balance we anticipate for 2026 is gonna be $116,138.43. That's about 1,345% of the proposed expenditures. That's kind of a worth number only because there aren't any expenditures right now. Chief Babion has requested that we let that money roll to fund balance year to year so that he can build it up enough to manage the facility improvements that he has planned for the fire station, but also the historic firehouses that the town owns and maintains. One of your projects, I think on the CIP is the Alpine hose,
Mhm.
number 5. And that's gonna take a good chunk of change to do the repairs that he wants to do there.
we didn't talk about that, we only talked about Missouri. We haven't talked about the Alpine Home.
I thought Cindy, while she was here, she brought that up.
So,
Oh, no, it was the hook and ladder.
That's the hook and ladder.
Yes, okay. Same situation with the hook and ladder as the old Missouri in terms of where the money's gonna come from. But the Alpine hose is another project that's gonna come before you at some point. This is not in the budget at the moment.
I'm sorry, I might be stupid, but I don't have that particular page in this packet. Yeah. Can you,
Here you go.
but it's still on from some of these things.
That was probably my fault. I was busy wrapping gifts and putting them in the sleigh today, so I was missing up the sheets.
Yeah.
It's hard to be an elf.
Okay. There are any expenses planned in that fund besides the maintenance of the fire station, the power, the telephone, the water and sewer? Same things as this current fiscal year.
So the significant maintenance expenses. Has he given you a detailed list of
We've talked about it.
this?
We haven't programmed anything yet. We just know what the old Missouri is gonna need next year and the hook and ladder we talked about at the last work session.
Well, because there's more. The Alpine hose can be featured and interpreted during nicer weather. Yeah.
Mhm.
It's not open in the winter time because the heat system is basically non-existent at this point. So there's, there's more, I mean, there's a different benefit to that property and what might be
Mhm.
contributed to that as opposed to fixing a roof over at the old Missouri or whatever. So
That certainly could be one of those projects.
I
that
just
we
didn't know
include.
how specific he was in this. Okay.
What type of revenue does the Alpine hose even get? Like, it's minimal.
Well, it's donations
Yeah.
and it's open on the weekends,
So,
kind
no,
of thing. Yeah, but then it's,
I donated $20 last year, so.
there we go.
we'll put your name on it.
So there's $22.
No, it is. Yeah, no, 25.
What is the hook and ladder restoration? I don't remember that one.
That's-
That's it. Sorry. Thank you. It just says 25,000.
But about if they go through it, the problem is, it's not,
Available to be open very often.
and yeah, it's not just based on the heat, there are some issues there that.
That's what I'm
Back
wondering.
and
I'm
forth.
weighing on, is it like, I mean, obviously without knowing the list, but is it worth like dedicating, a chunk of change to make it so it's more desirable for visitorship, or is it just like keeping it standing? Which are two fundamentally different things.
I think there's a conversation to be had about all 4 sites and how they're being underutilized. And I think if you talk to Kelly, he's going to say, well, that means the town is gonna have to step up and contribute some funding I think that's worth that conversation. I'm supposed to go tour it for the first time tomorrow. And
Which property that?
the Alpine House, and I've been told that it's just gorgeous on the inside, it's beautiful.
No, yeah,
Yeah,
It's really nice.
yeah, it's special. It's a
Very
super-
special.
It's
It
very
is.
special. We have so much of that here.
Tell them you have
So
good health
that's
insurance
special.
so that you can climb up to
Come see
the,
it.
to the tower.
I
He
will never
doesn't,
do.
he doesn't, he's very leery of that.
Of what, oh, people being up top.
Oh, yeah, now they
Yeah.
stop at, you know, I mean, the second floor, and
Yeah.
it says,
Yeah.
those stairs
Right.
going up there are a little bit different, but
Just don't program the bell to be on time.
because that site is, or has the ability to be regularly interpreted and open to the public. Not that there isn't grant options anyway, but that puts it into kind of a different piece too, so if, you know, it can't just be maintenance, but.
What if it was like in the, if we looked at like historical preservation funds or something?
That's.
Well, and we
that's where it ought
already
to go.
supported that years ago.
I can hear historical structure
Where
preservation.
there, so where the town, you should have a copy of that contract, I'll send it to you, just so you can add it to all your other lists of things.
I hear what you're doing here.
The historic preservation fund is very specific.
That's what I'm with it.
Yeah, that's not
I would
it.
think, yeah, that one you can only use for buildings that have been deemed the demolition by neglect cases.
Oh, that's that's what Cindy was talking about. Okay, thank you.
Oh, so,
Okay, so that's only,
but maybe state historical society. is
maybe
what I'm-
that's what
It would
it
be
is.
an outside grant that we would go into, it's nothing that we're
But
building up
that's
the
the
coffers.
demolition by
Unless it's
neglect.
capital.
I don't think that, I think that that's very possible, that we could find a small grant, $40,000-50,000 to do a $90,000 renovation of that building, make it so that it is safe and accessible all the way to the top, and I'll tell you more after I go through the tour.
You can pay extra to ring the bell at the wrong
Okay,
time.
when he comes out, you're gonna have to put the little red helmet on him. Aw. Okay,
You know what you're gonna get for Christmas.
Okay.
I think he's gonna fire all of us for Christmas, so.
Well, you can't fire us, we're volunteers.
It's close, it's getting close.
okay, where is?
All right.
So the next one is your historic and conservation, right?
Is that the one? Oh, yes, I gave it away. The Historic Structure Preservation Fund and the Conservation Trust Fund are pretty straightforward. It's the same thing. The sales tax revenue that is collected typically has been just rolling to the next year, and the beginning balance is gonna be about $108,666. And that's a good thing. That's what Cindy was talking about the other day, being able to use that money to help with those kind of projects that people need help with, and they're letting the property go.
So we typically allocate $10,000 a year for that fund, and we just let it build up.
Yes, and you remember, didn't we just modified our code this year to allow more of those projects to happen at the town administrator's initiation?
No. We were looking at. We were talking about that. I don't think we actually did the code change.
She's coming
That's
back
what-
with a proposal.
That's what
Yeah.
Cindy Neely was talking about, the $10,000
Right.
micro grant fund. Is she wants to use some of this historic preservation money that we've been putting in this account. And direct it towards discretionary projects instead of projects that we have to go through the courts to do.
Well, to encourage people to, and to assist in the process of restoration, not, you know,
Right.
as opposed
It
to,
would be for people.
as
who
opposed
have-
to penalizing them in court.
Right.
Yeah,
And it'd be for people who can demonstrate real need, because some people have the means and they should be fixing their properties, and some people don't for whatever reason, or they're not eligible for grants because the building we want them to fix is not a primary structure, things like that.
Right.
Or they're
Hi,
little
Dwayne.
projects, we can do like just painting a building, could sleeve it, and we'd rather just have them out instead of taking the court, so.
yeah. Yeah, but that's TBD, we haven't tackled that code.
TBD.
Yeah.
Okay, then the second one on here is the Conservation Trust Fund budget, and that is a recipient of state lottery funds. The balance is 31,905, and you'll see one example of a project that was done with the Strauss Park rehab. But there's nothing programmed for next year. Okay, workforce and tourism enhancement fund budget. Amanda had a question about this last week. It had to do with the contribution to the Georgetown Trust. The lodging tax, which is a revenue source for this fund, next year will be a projected $60,000. The beginning balance projected will be 54,111, which is about 39% of the anticipated expenditures. Those three main expenditures are the Georgetown Trust for 15,000, contribution to the Housing Authority 37,000, and then contribution to the Child Care Services of 30,000.
Can I ask a clarifying question? Is the revenue, is it 120,000 or is it 60,000 gross?
It
Like,
should be 60,000 in this fund.
correct, that's what I just wanted to say.
And our lodging tax should be, we should
Hundred
be,
twenty thousand.
we should be seeing 120.
Right?
Well, there's 70 in the business promotions line item for lodging tax. It says,
That's what I just want to clarify.
Yeah, so it's kind of, it's a 50.
I know that the lodging, the workforce monies get split 50-50,
right,
so we're collecting 120,000.
Yes, if you were just looking at it straight, it'd be 120.
That's what I just, because it's still low, but I just wanted, I was like, is it 30,000 we're
Yeah.
collecting? That's what I wanted to clarify. Like,
And
the
I'm-
30,000 is going into this fund.
And I'm not objecting to the 15,000 to the Georgetown Trust, but that was a one-time allocation that we made last year based on other things
Mistake.
that happened.
Our mistake.
Big mistake, not our mistake.
Yeah,
I think we typically do the 15,
Yeah.
but we did an additional one on top of that.
we did 65
Yeah,
Because we gave them the, okay,
yeah.
to
right.
alleviate,
to
to
offset.
rectify the mistake.
Okay,
so quick question. We have 60,000 in this budget, correct? And we have 70 here, so that would mean we're collecting 130.
Is that?
Yeah, that's about right.
That's about right, okay.
Because I'm going on actuals and projected
Right,
free
exactly.
fund, I'm not going on.
I just wanted to know why it wasn't even Stephen, because I thought it was a 50-50 split.
It is, but,
Okay,
you
but
know,
roughly, whatever. Okay.
hi Dwayne, we're on these pages right here. Okay.
I'm already right on it.
Okay,
He's a genius, remember? We taught up that.
now we're moving on to business promotions. Okay. This has probably been the most talked about budget without a budget approval yet from the BPC. I'm trying to get to the right one here.
It's before, we got out of order from workforce housing,
Okay,
yeah,
okay, well, let's just talk about this and if somebody has a question.
right here. Here's-
Okay, our lodging tax, estimate for the BPC fund is 70,000, sales tax vendor fees 17, the business license fees 20. And then our beginning balance projected for 2026 for this fund is gonna be 52,473, or about 18.4% of the proposed expenditures. And that is because we are spending down a little bit of that fund balance, so the expenditure number is gonna be higher than in the previous year. We already talked about the FTE, the marketing and events manager, and the cost share split that we're proposing for the general fund and the BPC fund. Professional services, that line item is including engineering and design for the Gateway Sign project. They decided that was their top project for the year. Special events fund is going to be in support of the Christmas market, fireworks, 4th of July, and tree lighting support. And then under the capital line item, that's the first contribution to the actual construction work for the Gateway Sign construction. And that would be, according to Mr. Huggins, something like the building the bases in before they start to actually construct the sign itself.
Mhm.
so is the funding that's allocated for 4th of July, in the past, 4th of July came out of parks.
Parts of,
It was, yeah, but I mean, with the exception of like the entertainment or little pieces, the majority of it came from parks. And then BPC became a little bit more involved, a little bit more involved, a little bit more involved. So are we taking the burden away from parks with this and putting it under the events and marketing manager, or marketing events manager, and. And BPC, just because it's falling in that aspect of the budget, so we're taking that out of Parks and put it here, or are we still contributing the same amount? As we had in Parks, which was. Well, I'll just stop there.
Well, I'll break it down to this. If it's something that has to do with the Fourth of July, like, renting something or, preparing for city park for people to use it, or doing something that's actual maintenance oriented, would stay with the Parks Department. But if it's something that's gonna be focused on marketing or, you know, paying vendors to come in and do something like a bouncing house, that's gonna come out of this budget.
I mean, that makes sense, it's just, as it's evolved over time, well, before any of us, were involved in any of it. It was more of a parks specific event.
Okay?
Yep.
Okay, Foster's Fund budget, this is pretty straightforward, we had $18,000 in the account that was donated to the town for maintenance and refurb of that structure. We expect to spend about $10,000 if the weather abides and we can get the work done. And then that would roll $8,000 to next year's fiscal year so that we can continue that work in 26. If you're interested in finding out how far we are on that project, Keisha has been managing that without
Alex
Alex. I get my Alex's and my Alex mixed up.
Cordeal.
Yeah.
I think we should call Anna Lee Al, just because you can't decide on the A or Anna Lee, so we could add Al and Alex.
That's what I call her.
Yeah, Al.
And she checked with her cousin, because that's her special cousin nickname, and her cousin gave us permission to tell her that. So,
For Coven,
cousin,
I was gonna say,
Coven.
okay, just checking in that I heard it right.
Okay,
Thank you.
sales tax capital fund budget. We're projecting a sales tax revenue of 300,000. And we are also anticipating a DOLA grant award of around 400,000. And so we're projecting the beginning balance would be $176,180.44. The projects that we have programmed here are Argentine North, $150,000 for tree plantings, which you approved already. Cindy brought those trees, that tree order, that would come out of 26. And then also special event parking upgrades, the project that was just recently designed for that area around the special event parking and the helipad and all that. We're programming some money for beginning to work on the event parking area. And then we talked about the roundabout storm drainage issue up there.
Yeah.
Money from this account for that. We have programmed town hall renovation for $680,000. That includes the contribution from DOLA as well as our own town capital input. That's part of a match for that DOLA grant. Now, the caveat here is we don't know how much that project's gonna cost. This is a guess. But it's a good guess. I think we're pretty close. We really are striving to not use any general fund money for that project. Okay? Okay, water and sewer funds. Did we cover this already, or did we just start to, and then, I remember giving a spiel about not,
We went through it.
not.
Yeah, we did, we went through it.
Increasing rates next year. Okay. Is
So
there-
for Rainy, are we budgeting them to continue for the entire year?
Yes, we are,
Okay.
but I don't anticipate that we'll have them for the whole year.
Right, but we are planning for 12 months, like, okay.
Yeah, and just so you know, we are preparing to post that position soon to replace that position right away. Joe leaving.
Okay.
We had some internal conversations about asking Rainey to give us a quote on what it would cost to fill that position. And that initial conversation with them was, it would still be more expensive if we had to bring somebody from their operation to work full-time here. Okay, I went through that pretty quick and I apologize, but if you have any additional questions or follow-ups that we can give you additional information on, certainly let us know and we will provide that quickly. Mary asked for a printout of our current wage listing, and you have that before you this evening. And please remember to keep that to yourselves. We would hate for that to become fodder for discussion out in the public.
Mhm.
There's that.
So these are the ranges, correct? For the-
Yeah.
Well,
Greg did a comp comparison using the numbers from the Colorado Municipal League before he left. But we are going to be due to do another one, I think, either at the end of 26 or beginning in 27. It's good to do that every 2 or 3 years.
Those are the numbers from 2024. The
Yes.
max side.
Okay, now that we've been through the funds themselves, we've been through the capital. Was there anything that was a note that you may have made to yourself during our work sessions that you wanted to circle back to and talk about?
and usually high balance in the water and sewer fund. Didn't Ryan used to pay down on, I think we had two, loans that we took out for capital improvements, and he used, at the end of the year, he would traditionally make good payments to knock that down. Where are we at with that?
Well, we're not going to look at that until we hear tonight from Haley Aldrich. And if you look through the PowerPoint that they gave us in advance, there are, I think there are 3 phases to their recommendation.
Mhm.
And I want to say in my head, that was approximately 1.3 million.
Yep.
Right? So if they do it over 3 phases, the second phase is gonna be not 26, but 27. So I anticipate that number is gonna be higher than what you see on the page today. And then the same thing with the third phase. So I really wanna get that project dialed in better before we go on and look at paying down debt.
That's what I thought, but I just.
Cause that debt right now is
That
cheaper.
we're thinking.
Yeah, that debt is cheaper on the books than if we were to issue new debt in this economic situation, yeah, right.
Where does debt show up in here?
We have a debt listing that Lorraine is preparing.
Oh, okay, very good, thank you.
Did, and I'm sorry, just because there's a lot of water projects going on. I think about it, and maybe it's my Haley Aldrich. This project is not inclusive of the other repairs that have to be done on the sewer side, right?
Right,
For blowers.
right, that's all separate, yes. So I think, what did we stick in for that project on the CIP
I
for?
thought that was coming in at like 150. What were the 300? In 26. And then the sewer main is 180.
Yeah.
Those would also be incorporated into that.
Yeah, we have in 26, 575 for special equalization project. And so then we're looking at, depending on what they say tonight and how they recommend phasing this, we're gonna have to plug in numbers for 27 and 28.
I think it would be great, especially when we all do our sits. Our Q4 or Q1 sits. If we could maybe get a little bit of more of like a boiled down. Sort of layman's terms presentation that we could give to stakeholders. About how they're not going to see an increase in water rates.
Yeah,
And
that's
there's,
something we should,
well, people don't understand why our water is weighted the way it is. Until, and it makes, it's logistically very sensible, the way that we do it. And when you explain it to people, they're like, oh, okay, but this would be a great, I mean, it'll improve, we have the resources for it, we can do it the right way and it's a good thing.
And bring everything up and water quality better and all that kind of stuff.
Water pressure, all of
Yeah.
the, all good things.
I think that's a blanket statement that we're planning to do as soon as we have the budget finalized. We want to be able to message that out to the public, look at all these great things that
Absolutely.
we're going to be doing. This is one of them. We're doing these water and sewer projects without any rate increase.
So when we get together for another one of these fun evenings,
Only one more.
as we get closer and closer to the end, I would like to see an abbreviated cheat sheet, Cliff Notes version, whatever, of the funds that we have available, whatever we wanna call them, excess, it's not excess. And these different project opportunities that we have, whether they're part of the capital improvement or more of a dire need. Has to happen February 2026 or else, we don't have water.
Mhm.
So that it's just consolidated, and if we have to prioritize or say. We really think this money needs to go here, aside from all these conversations that we've had, because that. That money is there, we've agreed that we want to. To utilize it, that's why it's been collected. But I just wanna make sure that it's easy for us to tap in and to allocate it. You look at this a little bit more frequently than we do. I'm not sleeping with this under my pillow for the next week.
I do.
And do you, well, you do, you went into your laptop,
It's probably under there.
And I think we did that with some COVID funding, where we knew about how much we were gonna spend. And then there was a shopping list,
The ARPA funds, yeah.
yeah, ARPA, and we were able to plug and crunch and figure it out and change it twice and. What's that?
Okay, so just to
Sorry.
recap what was just said, so I make sure I understand. We're gonna message this to you, Reader's Digest version that has our list of projects. Our cost for our funds that we just got through tonight, what the fund balance is as a result. And as we anticipate that fund balance is gonna be above 30%, I'm gonna give you a list of potential added project opportunities that you could look at adding. Yes, that's what you
No,
want?
not added that we've already discussed in here, not bringing in more. As to how we may be able to allocate them or to prioritize those allocations in here, because.
Yes.
I'm assuming that's where you're coming up with some of these numbers.
Yes, we're saying the same thing. 2026 is the snapshot we're looking at. And if there's a project in 2027 that we can now add to 2026, that's what I'm referring to.
That could be,
I
or,
don't think
or
that's what you're
20
saying.
well, but or 2026 may. May not roll out exactly that way, because of. What we're projecting for our revenues for 2026, what we're projecting for our increase, but knowing we have X amount of dollars here that we are hoping to. To allocate to these. I wanna see that I wanna see that here, one page.
Gotcha.
Doesn't have to be all these little line items here.
Okay, I understand.
Thank you.
You bet, thank you.
All right, well, the work session is over. It is 5:47. Thank you, and we will reconvene at 6 for a regular meeting, unless you all want to just go right into the regular meeting.
We can't.
No, we can't, very good, then we cannot,
No, you're just testing us.
and we shall, yes, thank you, Mary. Very kind of
That road is.
It's a fun.
All right, so we're on.
The rest is.
Okay, very good. Everyone rise for the pledge of allegiance. Are we?
But.
Video's on.
Wait, wait. Are we recording?
I'm sorry, I thought we were.
We are unmuted, but we are not, we're not our video.
5, 6, 7, 8.
All right, thank you. And for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. So it is 6:01 and I'm calling this meeting to order of the regular meeting for the Board of Selectmen for the town of Georgetown. And I will now do the roll call. Mary Smith. Here. Rob Connell.
Here.
Amanda Cooper.
Here.
Dwayne Duzinski.
Here.
Alex Sassoon.
Here.
Rich Barrows.
Here.
Thank you. All are present. So you have before you the agenda. I have noted that the payables dates do need to be corrected to reflect November 7th through November 22. Any other changes or corrections to the agenda as presented?
We have a modified agenda
Yeah.
sent to our inboxes, so we need to approve the agenda as amended. Cause there was a modified agenda that came out
The contract, the fireworks contract.
at like,
That came out yesterday.
no, it came out today, didn't it?
Yesterday.
Was it yesterday? Oh, I didn't read it till today, my apologies.
So the agenda that you have before you today is the modified agenda that does reflect the fireworks discussion. Other than the dates for the payables changing, any other changes or corrections to the agenda?
I see.
I would mention that we may have an item that's going to be added to the agenda. Jerry's working it out downstairs right now, so you can go ahead with the approval of the agenda, but we may have a motion to add something as the meeting comes up.
So I'll make a motion to approve the amended, the agenda as amended.
I'll second that, Rich.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. The agenda as amended and presented is approved. And if we need to add something later, we'll do with it at that time. Very good. Audience business. I don't think we have anyone in our audience today, but I will say, do we have anyone online?
We have 2 people on.
So if we have audience business, members of the audience have 3 minutes to present any matter of interest not already on the agenda. Letters will be acknowledged, but will not be read aloud. So is there anyone in our audience who may want to speak?
There are 2 people in the audience, and I heard them indicated that they are interested in speaking.
All right, very good. Thank you. You have before you also in your packet, the payables report for November 7th through November 22. Any questions or comments on the payables report that you have? I did want to ask a quick question about the police department Comcast bill. I think you had mentioned you were actually researching that, or might that already might not be.
I did a little bit of work on that, and I called them and I made it through 3 departments, and then they had not on me, and so.
All right, very good.
Another day.
Try again another day. It's always good. So any corrections or comments on the payables report? Do I have a motion to accept the payables?
So moved, Rich.
Second,
Second.
Wayne, thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. The payables are approved. You have before you also the minutes from the November 11th Board of Selectmen meeting. I had made a couple of comments to Bridget regarding some corrections.
I actually know Josh's last name if you want me to tell you.
Is it this one, Tenge?
Yes.
Yes, okay, so
Tenge.
what is it?
Tenge, yeah, Tenge.
Okay, Tenge, so I noted that could go here. There was a third person, Bridget had a question mark and under audience, does anyone know? Have an insert for that? I didn't have anything for that. Any other?
They were.
Oh, is it Tom Paxton?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it was Tom Paxton,
Yeah.
and Tom Paxton and Torn.
Yeah, And Torrance, we should put one down too. Both?
And that's THOM.
Yeah. Tom's spelling of his name.
PHOM.
I also submitted some corrections to Bridget.
Okay. So,
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes with corrections or as amended.
second, Alex, thank you. All those in favor? Any opposed? Great, the minutes are accepted for the November 11th meeting. So our first action item,
Madam Clerk, can I
I'm sorry, of course,
And we circle back to the agenda approval.
yes.
I inadvertently left off the public hearing for the budget for tonight was scheduled,
Sure.
and so we have
The work session, the board will conduct a work session.
no
to-
public hearing.
Public hearing is a specific legal thing where we open a public hearing, we allow the public to make.
So, oh, I see what you're saying. We didn't have. it.
Right,
Okay, guys.
it's not on the agenda, so we would like to add that as item 8. And the stipulation would be that once we have allowed anybody that is interested in commenting on the budget this evening, proper notice was done, and that's the discussion we were having with Jerry. We would ask the board to continue the public hearing until December 9th to add a second opportunity for comment. And in the interim, the staff will then renotice this and do double notice so the community knows that there is still an opportunity to talk about the budget.
Okay, very good. This would be item number 9.
Item number 9, and when we get to that point, Jerry will volunteer the language for that motion to open, close, and continue, okay?
Okay, very good. So I need a motion then back to agenda approval to add item number 9 regarding the public hearing for the budget.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
I'm sorry, give me a second.
Alex.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. So the added item number 9 is now approved into our budget. Very good. Thank you very much. So now, our first action item is our water capacity study presentation from Haley and Partridge. And we have people here. And if you would please state your names for the record so we can have it audible.
Kenneth Bertelson, engineer of Daily and Aldrich.
Great.
William Berg, technical expert for Alien Waters.
Thank you. And did you want to present your, Or
We
how would-
can present it up there if you'd like, you do have physical copies.
yes, we
of the
do, physical
presentation.
copies, right?
It's super hard to see on the screen. so,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It might be beneficial for people who are zooming in though, so that they have access to it.
Well, she gets that. So kind of an update on what was presented. Presented in September. We looked back in at some of the scenarios and put some construction costs and summaries and project summaries in there. We broke it up into 3 kind of distinct projects that can all be accomplished in 1 year of construction. Kind of manageable chunks. And looking at the findings of the model and the study is kind of the order we recommend seeing things, go in. Based on the pressure, the ability to use the tanks, how we use the pumps. I think we went over all of that last time. So we have it there in front of you, general summary, and then the 3 scenarios, try to put some benefits. Reasons why the projects might be needed, some benefits, and then basic costs. And then quarterly. The schedule in the back would be 26, 27, depending on how the project is funding, where the money's coming from. One of the slides in there, the second to the last one, is kind of a revisit of the rate structure. And then some potential also funding sources. Available to the town. And then figured we would also discuss again the rates after we had a chance to look at some. Rates kind of in the region are kind of all over the map at the moment. Should we just go through the slides?
Yeah.
Sure. For the people at home. Okay, yeah. Go to the next one. So this is just recapping what we went over in September, the first slide, what we found in the system is there.
We're
you've
not
got-
seeing it.
Yeah, it's not coming
Yeah.
out.
The audience can see it, you guys.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
so it'll be the second one down, yep, that one, that's the map of the town. So what we found in the original, we went through the modeling, you know, the capacity is there in the tanks, it's just not usable. If you remember that, based on how the pressures are coming out of the system, out into the system. Fire flow is kind of all over the map a little bit, due to line sizes, things like that, you've got some areas that have the water flow you need. You may not be able to supply the volume, depending on where you are in town.
Mhm.
So that just gives you a little bit of overview. The next slide is the next one. That just summarizes some of the fire flow and the pressures that we went over last time. And then
Is this the modeling recap?
the
Yeah.
modeling recap, yep. And so coming out of the last meeting, we had talked about those findings. What we've done is looked at 3 potential projects, kind of in order. And the order with us where it kind of makes the most sense to us. Challenge the aims and then how does it help the community? The first one is because we had the map previously where you can see the 2 distinct pressure zones kind of forming
Right.
on their own. When you use that, the tank along the highway and you turn those pumps on, you're busting out pipes. That's what we've been hearing from staff. We're getting really high pressures, really, you know, that are offsetting the lower pressures here in this part of town. So we were looking at how to break that into 2 controllable pressures. Yes,
We were just saying bless you,
Bless you.
oh, okay.
and Mary.
Okay.
Well, God bless you.
I don't know if I deserve that, but, so breaking it into 2 pressure zones. Basically let the system function how it wants, but let's do it in a controlled manner. So at pressure reducing valves coming off that tank, where we can then start filling the tanks. And breaking that pressure to what we can control and better using all of the volume of the tank, that's the first step. Right, so that would be the first project.
Can I ask, how does that work in concert with the altitude map?
We'd have to get them to kind of talk to each other, because that one's just set on a straight elevation.
Right.
Yeah, and so once we get to that, once we start filling that other tank,
But that altitude valve does have the capacity?
we think so.
And then I had a question.
The PRV should be able to account. In this first phase, the PRV should be able to account for what the limitations of that valve are.
The PRV is.
Pressure reducing valve, yeah.
So, and since you're breaking it into 2 systems, that's why you can do your targeted replacements and repairs as the last piece of the project?
Yeah, that's one that we put in there,
It seems to me that would almost be a starting point.
so anything that would need a repair or replacement that these other projects would touch, you go ahead and do that.
I see.
What it's in there third for is, as you're looking at, let's say you have a sewer main break, let's say you're paving a new road. You know, do an inventory of the system and start to prioritize where your oldest lines are, your lines that need the most work, where those are in town. So you kind of have that in your back pocket as you're doing these other projects. Because, you know, it's not.
So you would at least start the engineering right away with that?
Yeah, and do the assessment of, you know, these roads are category 1, right? So if anything is being done to this road,
Let's
replace the water
put it in the loop.
and go down like that.
I see.
If, there's a town nearby that just did this,
Yeah,
are the grants that are available to them available to us as well?
I believe so. You're not on the ineligible list for CDBG.
Always good.
So, that is something that CDBG Community Development Block Grant can pay for those type of studies.
Great.
Up to, I think, $100,000.
Got it.
And that's 100% grant. Up to that amount, they do have low interest loan, they do have grant loan combinations as well.
Sure.
Those come around quickly, I think it's January, February is the deadline on those. You'll get the money after start of the next fiscal year, which is July.
And that includes transmission lines and excavation and.
No, that would be a planning only grant.
Got it.
CDBG planning only is just for those assessments and some level of design. Like you'd have more in-depth cost estimates than we've had here. But it would help you then search out and look for other types of construction funds.
Got it.
Through either the water revolving funds, things like that.
Got it, okay.
So do towns traditionally, contract to get folks to write those grants? How does that work?
Some towns write them themselves, you know, we do help write grants, I've written them over the last 20 years for towns of various sizes, from 200 to 12,000 people.
I
So if
prefer to
that's something.
outsource that.
That's what I would think, but it seems like that needs almost immediate action.
Well, in my experience, it's been more expeditious because you have the engineer that's done the study that has the data ready, handy to them. And also understands the people that are the funders. And so if you can take advantage of that institutional knowledge already. And spend a little money to have them do the work, then you're not losing any continuity within your normal operations either.
So in January, February, this would want to do this in 26, be a reasonable ask of a outsourced. That's grant writer.
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
Thanks, I'm just trying to understand the
Yeah, I
process.
think early grants for something like this are not as in-depth as if you were building a new community center or
Sure.
you needed it for a park. These you can play up the community health, you know, you've got, basically health and safety is the real driver behind it.
And they're not that competitive typically. The funding agency wants you to go that next step, so you're better prepared if you come to them with a bigger grant request.
Very
Does that
good.
make sense?
That makes great sense.
So we can get that, the
Dollars.
deadline for that, so that we've got our eyes on that.
I can confirm the deadline and get it.
Okay.
That'd be great.
Occasion,
So see here,
yeah.
quick.
Mhm.
Kind of went off track, but we'll just answer questions as we can, that's fine. The second, so that was the first project, the second project,
Ask a quick question on
Yeah.
project one. So where you have, how does this help the community, and the third one says lowers utility costs? The community is gonna wanna know, how does that happen? I wanna know how that happens, because that's also part of our explanation when we're talking about what our, monthly bill is too, so something, we have to do this, how would we see that, or how would we know that?
you're not gonna see your number go down.
Okay, that's
You're
fine.
just not gonna see it go up as quickly.
Okay.
You'll
That
have,
would more efficient.
you'll have
just
more
reduce-
efficient system, you won't be blowing lines out, you'll have little less maintenance once some of these things do.
Okay,
Yeah,
alright, that's
Very good.
fine.
yeah. The second project, would kind of feed into that one, you've got a booster station up on the tank over by I-70. That you turn it on, you're blowing pipes, and so getting that balanced, I think we talked last time. You know, it's a little bit weird to think about, we're gonna be pumping downhill, but that's part of what that PRV is gonna be there for. To give it that false head, right, to pump, give it something to pump
It'll
against,
mute the PSI.
correct.
So in other words, are you gonna put it in a vault in the street and the?
The PRV will likely be down at the bottom of the hill in a vault.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
And then the booster will do as little to that as we can. The bulk of that work's gonna be in the controls. And then if there need to be smaller jockey pumps through the system, those get figured out later, depending on the zone.
Yeah, depending on where that vault is, it's just, there ought to be a good subsystem. Cause we heavy rains and flooding, just consideration.
And if it's down there, it can go to some of the stormwater facilities. I don't know if Dennis liked hearing that, but it can go to stormwater.
I love hearing that. You'd be surprised.
Yeah. Yeah, it can overflow into stormwater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Cause it's clean water, there's nothing against that, so. So that would be the second one. The third one is the line replacements. Along with that is, you know, as you get those kind of tiered levels of replacements, looking at things like hydrants, where, you know, do you need to start upsizing services in various parts of town? You've got old services that might be 1/2 inch copper to a house that can barely get water to their second floor sink, and we get them a 1 inch, or things like that.
I would imagine though, under project 3, that if we're actually looking at repairs, those might be incorporated in an earlier phase, because you're not gonna wanna come back to it. I mean, it's different if it's a replacement.
If it's near the other projects, if it touches those, yeah, you'll wanna
Do
change
it all.
it to where it makes sense in that area, but. Where these are going in, where these PRVs are going in, that's where you have your newest transmission line.
Okay.
It's this area of town that needs the most upgrades.
And there, like I said, the town of Empire just did this, so they qualified for grants that, you know, fund that kind of a project.
And you have, you know, the school there, you've got the county facility, you've got some drivers that are gonna help with CDBG out. Or revolving fund application, because you do have public users on the system. And you also have a system that, I'm guessing you spike during tourist events. You know, water usage goes up in various times of year, so you don't, you know, you have kind of an odd system from a management perspective. So,
And then Ken, one last
Yeah.
point of clarification, in project 3. That still does not preclude the town from doing these replacements before that, right? So if
No.
we know we have a road project coming up next year, and we're gonna be excavating and we wanna replace a water line, we can go ahead and do that. That's not gonna impact what your plan here is.
no, this would be looking at, you know, for putting in these two new things. There's gonna be some line replacements, you know, where do we draw the line? Like, how far do we chase this? Where does it make sense? That number was honestly just kind of a, here's where it makes sense. You know, just drawing lines on a map, it may not, it may be a much broader area than that. But it gets things started. Yeah.
Thank you.
Next. And the cost assessment, try to break it down, you know, as basic as possible. The construction phase, that can be funded through development costs that you put in or development fees that you put in the bank. It's where you can get low interest loans. I think state revolving fund offers loans at 70 to 80% of market rate. You need to go a loan route and pay it back with newcomer rate agreements, things like that. Next one.
I have a quick question on the cost estimate. It said that the permitting phase would include one public meeting. I'm assuming that's you guys who would run and manage that situation for us.
Yeah. Yeah, those CDBG, state revolving fund, those public dollars do come with transparency guidelines.
Awesome.
And part of that is you have to have at least one public meeting where you go over the project. You talk about where the money is coming from, different funding sources, town, state, federal. Lay it all out there. Here's where it's coming from, here's what it's getting spent on, and here's what the project's about. And then that puts you in compliance.
So these numbers seem too good to be true. I gotta believe that they're gonna probably be. Don't you guys ever say, hey, you know, let's double this just to be on the safe side?
This is the minimum cost,
Really?
right? You know, to put in 2 PRVs in vaults, yeah, we think it'll be,
But
Just
also
under
like
600,000.
doing like some piping too and
that's just to get the PRVs in the ground and get them working,
got it.
yeah.
So there are additional costs is what you're pointing at.
No, it's just that these projects always end up being a lot more than just $500,000.
Sure. No, I
And so
appreciate it.
that's getting the PRVs hooked up
I
to the
see.
system you have. That's not doing line upgrades, that's not
Right.
chasing them down streets.
I'm just wondering if like the cost of doing business is just gonna double by the time we, you know, get to it.
You know, that's it's interesting. We've kind of seen equipment and material prices all over the map. I mean, this time last year, we were waiting 25 horsepower pumps or a PRV, we were being told, 10, 11, 12 months, they're being delivered now. Now we're hearing 20 weeks. So we don't know what that's gonna look like.
No, it is all over the mapping, right?
Yeah. And, steel is still high. A lot of the stuff is not made in the United States.
There's,
Gotcha. So there's all the costs that go along with that.
Yeah. So these were costs we took from some recent bids over the last about 3 months.
Gotcha,
Yeah.
gotcha. It's just that. You know. Come on.
Yeah.
You know, it is.
Because the PRV, the valve itself is around a $30,000.
Oh, no, that's a complicated piece of equipment.
Yeah, it's about a $30,000 valve.
Yeah.
And that's just to get it here. It's not hooking it up or running.
Right.
So, no, that's a good question. And so fee structure and funding. The next one, so these are your base fees. Regional rates. I was looking around, a lot of them were hard to find, and so just some of the rates nearby, like, are up to about 136 a month. Where you're charging the 8124, so you're kind of in a good spot, right? You've got room to grow where you're not outpacing neighbors. But the fact that you qualify for CDBG does mean your income levels are at a certain point that you qualify for those grants. So you may not have a lot of room to raise those rates right off the bat. So I think we're back to looking at the development fees. And so the numbers that are there, those are your development fees. You've got large and small, you don't necessarily distinguish between residential, commercial, industrial. And then there isn't really a written threshold on what makes large, what is small. And so, that's one thing that you may want to revisit in the next quarter or so. Where do you draw the line? Do you do it, some do it by the size of service the new development needs, some do it off EQRs, some straight EQRs, some do it off of a weighted EQR. So, there's different ways to do it, and, we can help you look at a couple different things, but just to kind of get that back out there, that your rates are pretty decent. They're a little on the low side, but they're not like wow low. So I think if you can figure out where to draw the line on that large, that 11,000 times the EQR, let's say you had a 20 unit apartment building, the difference if you're calculating it as small versus large is about $105,000 to $187,000. So you're leaving 82 grand on the table. Depending on where you want to draw that line. And so that's something that can also come out of that analysis of, lines and where those things are. There's some potential funding sources on there. And then, oh yeah, you still have the moratorium in place on new development, I believe. When can that come off? We recommend that you figure out what your rates are, right? Open that back up. Total capacity wise, you've got it. You just have to be able to use the tank, so that first project would be able to get you there. I'm not sure if, that new development that hasn't quite started yet, if that's got 40 or 50 apartments in it, that may really put you over the edge. So you may want to look at how you're doing your development fees before you look at that moratorium. And that's something you consult your attorney with as well.
Keisha, what development did you say is already permitted?
The 1999 Argentine commercial, they haven't broken ground though.
But they're through. Like,
Yeah,
per-
they got their permits in 2022, so
Oh,
all I
okay.
did was
So they're,
refresh them.
they're,
Yeah,
So they're
I didn't
paid.
even go through the whole
They're
process
paid,
again,
okay.
even though they have the permits already.
that's, yeah, they're numbers.
But I think I think you are able to raise your rates during the moratorium and have anything that comes in afterwards fall under that new rate structure.
Yeah, that's right. The key is that you don't have development approved.
Right.
Because it's approved development that gets to rely on the impact fee levels at the time it's approved.
Correct.
That's really why the development moratorium is placed. But meanwhile, it's done all the time, you put a moratorium on so that you can raise fees or change other regulations
Right.
to then apply to that development when the moratorium is lifted.
So you have that going for you when you decide to lift that. So, you know, if you can do that sometime in in Q1 of next year, that'd be great.
And I would add also that the Bighorn Phase 2 Lakeview Flats has already been accounted for in our water capacity.
Yeah.
So all they have to do is come and get their permits, but we have the water capacity to serve them.
Yeah.
We just can't, if Lakeview Flats number 3 comes in, we couldn't allow that to happen.
Yeah, that one would likely put you over the edge from an ability to serve standpoint.
And they have some taps paid for, but they will have to pay for additional taps for the next phase.
For say the phase, upcoming phase.
Yeah.
That we're anticipating.
That would be your updated cost up, correct? Like the new fees? That would make the most, that'd be just, yeah, it'd make the most sense.
Great, thank you. Any questions? Any further questions or comments on the report? Well, thank you so much. We really
Yeah.
appreciate your time again on all of this. Yeah, thanks for coming in person. Yeah. That was great.
That was really important.
Just glad you came.
That's a whole fee structure right there, cupcake of presentation.
And plus I got so excited
Thank you.
because we were talking water.
Yes.
What's that?
Happy birthday, we apparently talked water for you.
That's right.
I'd like to
There you
consider
go.
myself fellow optimist.
There we go.
Thank
Thank
you
you guys
again.
have any other questions? Get them to Dennis or Steve and they can forward them on.
Absolutely, we shall do so. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tom.
Any word of them?
All right, drive careful out there. So action item number 2, we have consideration of ordinance number 14,
Thanks for the-
proposing to amend the Georgetown Municipal Code regarding law enforcement services. And is that Dennis or Tracy, who would like to take?
Well, I just wanted to introduce that, Jerry's done this, yeoman's effort this last week and a half. We've been busy. Yeah, we've been very busy. We were just commenting this morning on how many emails that had each other's name on it. And I think we're over 30 or 40, but, yeah. So, this is the first step, Selectmen Smith brought this up about modifying our ordinance, and so Jerry dug into it. Jerry, if you want to, just go over the highlights of what you're amending the ordinance for and how it's going to affect our potential IGA.
Sure, you bet. This really creates kind of the enabling authority to do everything else. It's, all the other things that follow. We have in the code, that's what gives you enabling authority to do things around police and around, municipal court. And in the code, there are 2 different chapters. One establishes the police department, the other one establishes the municipal court. So on the police department, certainly it says there shall be a police department and it shall do these various things. That doesn't necessarily say, and you can't farm those out, right? But the idea with the IGA is that there is a desire to farm out. I think it's important to have the enabling authority clear in the code. And so what you've seen in section 1, I found the right section to amend that establishes the police department. And by the way, I found a random reference to town marshal that we hadn't caught, in that other ordinance we did when we changed all the names. So I went in and fixed that. But then I provided that this board in its sole discretion acting by resolution can have any or all of those functions assumed by others or undertaken by contractors in a governmental agreement. Rather than saying all, I thought to myself, there may come a time when you only want to do some of that with the county sheriff or something else. So I want to make sure that this was kind of your ticket to be able to do all the other things on the police side that are elsewhere and later in the agenda. Similarly, you have a chapter that establishes the municipal court and says it's a court of record and you appoint judges, etc. And I did very much the same thing, as you can see, provided however, in my resolution, the board can provide for the function of municipal court to be performed by the Clear Creek County judge. I thought about saying any county judge, but you're not gonna farm it out to Jefferson County judges, so it's gotta be the Clear Creek County judge. And really, that whole section just mirrors and implements language that's in the IGA that you have seen around the county judge that we've talked about the county judge taking over municipal offenses. And I'm working, by the way, with the county staff now that are loading up all of the municipal ordinance violations that we would like them to ticket into a digital a digital form so that officers on the street can be able to have that code citation and, you know, animal at large, whatever.
Mhm.
So that's ongoing, but I wanted to make sure that the county judge had jurisdiction, really, and authority to hear and try cases. And so that's what that section does. Very much like the police section, but geared toward the judge. And I found another section there where I felt it was important to the sections on appointing this court judge, where I reflected the same thing to make that clear. You'll notice there's an emergency declared because normally you do 2 readings. And this allows you, if you choose to go on later tonight and do the other actions, this allows you to be able to do those things because the code will already have been changed by virtue of a 1 reading ordinance. Now, as you know, normally the ordinances are 2. Ordinances here are effective once you finally adopted them and posted them up. In the words of Dr. Holmes, wasn't it? He was very happy. Yeah, that's what the charter says. But nevertheless, they're not adopted until 2nd reading unless you do an emergency, which you're allowed to do. The charter specifically allows that. So I did that too. So if you adopt this ordinance tonight, it's effective tonight. That means all the other things that you're doing are enabled. And you have authority to do them. Questions about that?
Very good, thank you. Questions?
You answered my questions.
Good job. Very good,
Thank you.
excellent.
Beth?
So there's a recommended motion here, Jerry, and this is going to be to approve ordinance number 14. That number should be inserted in there, is that right? Okay,
I'll go ahead and make that motion.
very rich, thank you.
I move to approve ordinance number 14, series 2025, an ordinance concerning law enforcement services in the municipal court and declaring an emergency.
Second,
Second.
all those in favor?
I,
Any opposed? Thank you. So ordinance number 14, series 2025 is hereby adopted. Thank you very much. Our next item, number 3, regards the approving the IGA for law enforcement services. Dennis, are you going over that?
I'm going to go over some of the things that we followed up on from the board's questions and recommendations or requests from the last time you talked about this. First and foremost, I wanted to point out that we've removed the word benchmarks because we had monthly reports and benchmarks in 3 different places in the original draft. And the last discussion that we had with the county group was their desire to consolidate this report requirement to just 1 report. So that makes sense to us. So we're combining the benchmarks into the monthly report. And then Jerry made modifications on the language, which now reads within 30 days of full execution of the IGA. The CCSO in town will develop a form to report public safety activities in Georgetown. This document will be presented to the Board of Selectmen for approval. The other conversation, I think, that's centered around crash investigations. And in clarifying that with the sheriff's group, they typically do their own investigations on crashes. And these are typically those things that are fender benders or things that do not have a unique characteristic to them. And unique being something like a fatality, when they would definitely call in the Colorado State Patrol, help them with those investigations at no cost to the town. The only caveat there would be, they pointed out during our conversation that if they had to call in somebody that was a working consultant, say for cyber crimes, they may get an invoice for that work from that consulting firm. And Jerry has written in here as well, a protection on the town that we would have to give prior consent to that expense before we agreed to pay for it. The patrol vehicles, it was actually on our suggestion that they remove the word magnetic. And this is why, because they have a concern that these magnetic signs would become souvenirs to the town. And if the souvenirs became too much of a problem, then they may have to resort to a more permanent fix on those vehicles, say with a decal. And I would hate to have to bring this back to the floor so that they can change the word magnetic to decal.
That's right.
So we just took the magnetic out so that it was a little bit more flexible. They want to have the magnetic signs out of the gate because it gives them flexibility to go to this patrol vehicle or that patrol vehicle when they need to. But if it becomes a problem, I want the town to legitimately be able to say, make a change here and do a more permanent fix here, and it's allowed in the IGA. Code enforcement, Jerry talked a little bit about that. We also talked about the ramp up period. We thought that this was a very important section to be added from the last conversation. And the ramp up period is going to be that time from when we execute this IGA and signed and they start work for us. And when they're able to have that first deputy on the street serving the town of Georgetown. And of course, once they have that first deputy, then that other compensation section kicks in with that $52,000 annual fee paid quarterly. But in the interim, while they're recruiting and training that deputy to become a Georgetown deputy, we wanted to stipulate how that was going to work. And so the sheriff's office made a proposal, and it initially called for a payment of $15,000. And so we haggled a little bit about that. And we requested that they provide a more detailed accounting of why that was going to happen. And I think I included that in your packet. Yes, so you saw the letter from them, which was very well done. They were very responsive in identifying that. And so they're talking about a minimum amount of patrol hours that they're going to provide in the ramp up period, as well as all of the other ancillary service that they have included in this IGA. And so since we're paying around $8,000 to $10,000 a month during the short-term temporary IGA for what we've been paying for, this seems very reasonable to us, and Jerry and I were happy with $12,500 per month. Okay, compensation. I'm trying to remember if there was anything more about that. I think that's pretty straightforward. There is a statement that was added here that the total cost per year will not exceed $633,000. So everything that is provided for in the IGA, nothing will cause this to go over $633,000 unless it is stipulated in the agreement itself. Termination, I think everybody was comfortable with the 1 year notice. Let's see. Okay, under the first bullet point, supervisor for Georgetown, there was a request to have some stipulation about what the minimum rate would be. And they did communicate to us that that would be a sergeant or above, so that was put into the IGA. The original IGA draft had under patrol schedules, it had 168 hours. And I can't for the life of me figure out how I calculated 168 hours. I've been through all the math and that's just not accurate. It doesn't fit within the scenario of 3 deputies, even a supervisor. So that number is pretty straightforward. 3 deputies working 40 hours per week for the town of Georgetown is 120 hours. So that was corrected. Okay. I think that's it. Does anyone have any questions or follow-up questions from last week that I did not answer?
I have a follow-up question. So we approve this tonight. We have the Christmas market coming up and we're paying $12,500. Are we paying officers $100 an hour then, since we don't have an officer to cover for those big weekends?
Yes, so if they don't have that first deputy on the street, the additional resources that they would have to put towards these special events would be at $100 an hour. It also applies if they do have their full contingent of 3 deputies. And they're fulfilling 100% their
We
commitment,
need more.
and we want 5, then we'll go to the $100 an hour for the additional 2.
Okay, is the county aware that what's coming up
Yes,
at the sheriff's department? Okay.
yes, we actually had a conversation today about that.
Okay.
Very good, thank you. Amanda, did you have a question? I'm sorry. Anybody else have any questions?
It's under, on page 3, under the special community events and the 90-day notification. I can understand it from their perspective, but I think that puts a burden on us unless we're planning on making some significant changes to our own event planning.
If we can give them a year's worth of dates right off the bat.
But that's what exists now, and so remember just a couple years ago when pond hockey all of a sudden dropped on our lap. And so, you know, conceivably, they could still be in that ramping up stage, or they could be dealing with staffing issues. I just wanna make it flexible enough for us. Because right now, when we do a special event, the town only requires 30 days notice for that. And we're far from this, so it puts everybody into a scramble.
Right.
So I'm wondering if this can either be modified, so it's a little bit more reasonable for 60 days, or are we so ready to make that change in an internal procedure here for things? And I think that could potentially cut out some opportunities for the town if that's going to be an issue. You know, in a perfect world, sure, 90 days would be great, you know, and like you said, oh yeah, we can tell, hey, 4th of July is gonna come up, guess what? On 4th of July. Yeah. So I would just like to see us have a little bit more flexibility with. So I don't know what their feedback to you was on the 90 days. What
I
their-
wasn't worried about it, honestly. In fact, I would want us to strive to get to a point where these events are not last minute. It's become quite a problem. Just in the 6 months I've been here, I can't tell you how many times we have had to drop everything that we're doing to try to get a special event going at the last minute because we didn't plan appropriately. And I'm not talking about the one that came in at the last minute. So like let's use the farmer's market as one. We were planning 2 months in advance on that one probably, but it was, to me, it was a last minute event. So those big events like 4th of July, Christmas market, pond hockey, those all should definitely be planned, or at least notice given to the sheriff's office 3 months in advance that we are doing that. We should be working on pond hockey right now with the sheriff's office.
Oh, and I don't disagree with that, so that's what I'm just, you know. Bring to the attention of everyone, that means that we, the town, are going, and you and your staff are going to have to make some big concessions to be able to abide by this, and I would hate for it to, I would rather have some flexibility there. Because there could be pond hockey, the first pond hockey that we had 2 years ago dropped in our laps in like 3 weeks or less.
But that's a one-off, and I would hope that they would work with us instead of being like, well, good luck, that's a bad look for them too. There's some major public emergency, they're like, we.
But
should give
they're
us
not
90 days
bound by,
notice.
they're not bound by it for this, and that just bring it.
But we
to
were,
attention.
yeah.
I'm not dying on any of these.
No, no, I totally get it.
No, but
I
I
have
think
a
it's a good
suggestion
point,
though, to
yeah.
make everybody happy, I think, because you'll also notice that the sheriff's office, and Jerry can agree with this, I hope. That when our side was asking for something specific and like designated or.
Yeah.
The same person, they were happy to say, yes, we're gonna do that. But we want words in there that say we're gonna make our best effort to do that, because you never know what's gonna fall out of the sky. So I would say the sheriff's office will have no problem if we were to say, please amend this to say 90 days for our best effort,
Yeah, or the town will make its best effort to
and then
provide
that'll
90
be
days.
fine.
That's fine, I think it gives
Right,
us the leeway to bring something in and to feel confident that we have law enforcement coverage, because we definitely wanted it in pond hockey. That, to me, that's, you know, a
Pond
fact.
hockey's huge, but I also, in the scope of the event too, like some of the, like, I was trying, like the Guanilla guys that rode face down on their
Yeah.
boards. You know, I mean, those guys needed Oh, that was like, I think we got like, what, 4 or 5 months, so they were like head first down Gwinnett Pass, it was very scary.
It was skateboard event.
Yeah, not for them, but seriously.
But I think we just want flexibility here, is what Mary's pointing
That,
out.
and
to
we
be sure
can't,
we're not
you know,
gonna-
we wanna dismiss
That's-
that the leaf peeping market is not a significant law enforcement event. Okay,
That's
we
what-
really wanna put Christmas market in that same category. That, oh my God, everyone's there just having fun, and it's not a
Christmas
significant
markets, yeah.
law enforcement event. However, we don't live in that society anymore, and so, and it's reasonable for them to want to be able to provide services, but I just want it reasonable on us too.
Well, I think Dennis's solution solved that.
Yeah,
correct?
no,
Yeah, I
exactly.
think we're
Yes,
good.
and I
Yeah.
think we're also talking about two different things. We're talking about preventing a problem at an event, right, with
Right.
deterrence. As opposed to responding to a problem, which they're gonna have all hands on deck if there's a level 1 alert in Georgetown because there's a riot.
Oh, wow.
But
Christmas market provided.
But yeah,
Yeah.
because they're happening elsewhere, so.
Yes.
No, it's
So,
true.
okay, this,
Yeah, very
we
good.
got this now.
So I have a question on page 5 under policies and procedures. I believe at the last conversation that we had at the board meeting that we were going to have a copy of their policy and procedures manual here. Not that we have any influence as to what they are, that they have in that, they're writing them, they're abiding by them. But that we know what those are, we have access to that, and so then I would also add to that particular paragraph. That when they make any changes, they make any amendments, they delete, they add, that we are notified within a reasonable amount of time. When that policy is implemented. So that there's confidence. That you could
Transparency.
also address and say, I
We
read
can
the
be
Bible,
aware, yeah.
you know.
Keep us educated.
They write them, they enforce it, but we have the opportunity to be aware of the way.
Yeah, we have a copy and you let us know if there's any changes or
Yeah,
amendments.
because and then they should be updated.
Sounds good.
Jared, do you have any insight as to whether the town would have the ability to keep those confidential?
They're really not confidential.
Yeah,
I know there are, from experience, there are some internal law enforcement agency policies and procedures that are maintained as confidential.
Yes, I often get open records requests for those from citizens and typically respond to the municipality. Yes, you have to pop it up unless there's something there that is specialized details of security arrangements is one of the carve outs from the Open Records Act. What I think I'd suggest, that I think the county attorney would be probably fine with, would be a sentence that says the CCSO shall provide copies of their policies and procedures to the town. With reserving any items or any portions thereof not releasable to the public under the Open Records Act. And that mirrors, if a Joe Citizen walked into the sheriff's office tomorrow, Joe Citizen would be able to get 90+% of their SOPs.
Mhm.
But they redact, as I would for any of my clients, I'd redact just the security arrangements that. And that'll mirror what they're already doing, I'm sure, but it gives us that rights.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
And it allows Dennis to have immediate access to what the verbiage is, so that if all of a sudden there is a complaint, you're not waiting for the county to provide that, you can at least have a little bit of insight.
And advise of changes or updates,
So-
right?
Yep,
Yeah.
thank you.
And all right.
Under 3.14, the patrol vehicle markings, if it's actually this contract that we're looking at, if this is supposed to be the final one, it still says magnetic signs on here, so if you wanted to strike that on the 4th line. The design and the size of the magnetic signs.
Oh, yes.
You might wanna make that a little bit more
Yeah.
vague.
Peter actually brought that up yesterday. Right here.
And in our last meeting under 3.17 on page 6. 3.17.2. When we were talking about how people are supposed to appropriately call 911 for police response. And it says in here, this does not include person-to-person telephone or electronic communication between CCSO personnel, blah, 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 everybody can read. I had asked what their policy is on that phone use, specific to issues that we had when we had a police department. And how calls were received, calls for service. were
They did
received.
give that to us, and I can give that, share that with you.
Okay, great.
And I read it too, and, while it wasn't written with the sort of fact patterns that I know we were concerned about.
Right,
I read it with those fact patterns in my head as I'm reading it, and I think they've done a good job at addressing what could otherwise be an abuse of that system. So-
and that's what we would hope for. And
Yeah.
so again, that would be a question as to why we would want, you know, there's another reason that we want their copy of their policy, da, 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 so, oh, okay, that is, yeah.
We do have it, it was the first thing that they gave was like the day that we went back with your comments, they just sent it to us and we have it.
Okay. Thank you.
Very good. Anything else, Mary? Any other comments or nothing? All good? So, there's, go ahead.
Got a motion, but I should help,
Yes.
add that to it. If you want.
Yes,
Well,
please.
only when you're ready.
Are we ready for a motion?
I am.
Yes.
Very good. Okay, thank you, Jerry. Go ahead.
I think the proper motion, would be, the one in the fact that was in addition, so maybe it would be that the board of selectmen approve the intergovernmental agreement with Clear Creek County Sheriff's Office for the Division of Law Enforcement Services and authorize the police and to sign up on behalf of the town. With revisions to sections 3.7, community special events to obligate the town to provide, to use best efforts with, changes to section 3.13 to require that a copy of the sheriff's policies and procedures be regularly provided to the town within the constraints of the Open Records Act. Change to 3.14 to delete the word magnetic. And I would add such other technical corrections as approved by the town administrator and town attorney. There was some terminology. I think we found all the places where it said sheriff and turned it into CCSO at their request, but there may be a few others.
So moved.
Thank
Second. Okay, here,
you.
Rob and Amanda,
Yes.
and all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. That is a very monumental and exciting thing. Very,
Good
very,
work, Dennis and committee.
absolutely. Everyone did an amazing job in this. Thank you so much. I want to thank this board because I was not involved in so much of what all of you went through, and this is, you have to feel very good about this. Even if it's not perfectly perfect, as staying close, and we're gonna move forward with something which is good. So congratulations, that's a big thing. All right, thank you. Action item number 4 in your packet is a resolution appointing a county judge to hear and try violations of the town code and ordinances. And I'm just noting, Jerry, we need to insert a number in here as well, but I'll let you direct this conversation.
Sure, I addressed this more or less, I think, in kind of the intro,
Right.
unless you have questions. The only thing to do, Kate, you will need a resolution number, and it would be.
Is it 15 or is it not?
Ordinance was 14.
You can skip a number and save it, you like.
16.
16 is safe, I think.
Oh,
Safe, I mean, like.
Hey,
it was-
safe.
it's-
Shape as opposed to
Saved.
saved.
Let's make it number 16, you know.
Okay,
do the
perfect.
motions.
Okay.
Who's doing that motion?
I move to approve resolution number 16, series 2025, authorizing the Clear Creek County Judge to hear and try violations of the town's municipal code of ordinances.
Second,
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, very good. So resolution number 16 is unanimously passed and accepted. Moving on to agenda item number 5. This is approving a 1-month extension to our short-term IGA that we have, and MOU, sorry, with the sheriff's office. And did you want to make any comment on that? It's pretty self-explanatory. We go through the end of November. Which, since we just approved the IGA, do we need to, like, how do we need to work?
Yeah, we could do.
Well,
When we already did
let's
this.
talk about this because the IGA is approved, but we were just notified that the board is going to approve theirs or vote on it on December 9th.
Oh, okay.
So I would feel more comfortable if we approved all of these, and if once they do their thing and vote yes on this, then we will enact it and we will not need this temporary IGA. So that's my request this evening.
So we approve it based on what the county's approval date sort of thing, or not really? We're not-
Just do it for the whole month.
So,
It's for the whole month, and then once they, like, we'll have to have a conversation with them about how to. Is there's some kind of prorating, there's,
Well,
you know, for 9 days.
this one says November first till November 30th, so they're not even gonna meet till after that. This is for the month of November.
right, there's also anything
This
going
is,
to
so, yeah,
December.
because we already approved November, but because the commissioners don't go until December 9th, we're trying to buffer the in-between, even though our
Okay.
IGA is approved, so this is just like basically extending the current.
Extended.
Yes, this is just, the motion would be extend the current one, which is in front of you tonight through December 31st.
So the motion in the packet for item number 5 is incorrect. Don't make that motion.
Right,
So,
December 31st.
Yeah. Yeah.
So wait, I mean, so is,
It says November first till. and
right, and
terminate
I think
on-
the dates are wrong.
The dates are wrong. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
We put the current one in there so that it would remind us, we didn't think we were gonna need it, but when they told us they weren't going to be taking this up until the 9th. Now we have to, I think, just to be safe and make everything clear, adjust the date on here to December 31st, 2025, and we'll be safe.
so is what ordinance number is this?
So are we actually doing it?
So there's not an ordinance. That is the wrong motion. I think the recommended motion on the sheet, Jerry, is incorrect.
It's too, it's,
So I think last time we we authorized Georgia to
We did.
sign an extension.
For November.
Yes, so that's. the
Now we
motion.
need the MOU for December, but this motion says we're gonna approve an ordinance, which we're
So
not.
if we said, so theory is it, I
Yeah,
get,
okay, yeah,
We're just,
I can suggest a better motion.
great,
okay, great.
Because.
that is why you make the big bucks, sir.
Fair enough. A proper motion would be to approve a memorandum of understanding of temporary law enforcement services with Clear Creek County as provided, as presented in the packet with the changes to change all of the references to October in recitals B and C to November, and to change the references in section 1 to December. Where it says November, such as to ensure that the MOU is effective for the month of December.
Don't move.
Well, second,
Was that Dwayne? Or Rob? And Amanda?
yes.
Very good. All those in favor?
Uh,
Any opposed? Thank you very much. So, what he said. That
his
is,
voice changed because he got older.
that something happened. Thank you very much.
I didn't think about that. Wow.
Okay, so action item number 6 is consideration of payment in lieu on the health insurance coverage.
Thank you. This was brought to the board some time ago, a couple months. And now that our healthcare renewal is all done, our HRA is all done, we've brought this back for final approval. We're recommending that the board allow an incentive of $300 per month for an employee to opt out of our healthcare insurance coverage. There are conditions, and you see those under the 1, 2, 3. The most important of those is that they provide proof of alternative coverage, insurance card and confirmation letter or documentation from another employer or insurer. And that can only come in the situation where there is a spouse that has another job or a domestic partner in another job. Or if there is a, let's say it's a child that's being covered under a family plan, then that child could actually apply for that, but we don't have that issue right now here in town of Georgetown. The conversation was, I think if I remember correctly, the conversation revolved around the amount of $300 per month. And whether we wanted to split that up and offer $300 for the employee and $150 for, say, the child that was covered. But to keep it simple, we're recommending that we just stick with the $300 per month. Using that number and using the renewal numbers that you approved a couple of meetings ago. Our estimate is that the town will save approximately $8,836 per year if they were to grant this incentive.
Any questions on this? Very good. There's a motion in your packet. Would anyone like to make that motion for approval?
I'll move to approve the Board of Selectmen approval to the payment in lieu of employee health insurance coverage incentive.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you, Alex. All those in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. Okay, so that payment in lieu is approved. Thank you very much. Action item number 7 is regarding a parking lease for the space out here, well, it's to the north here, that Mike Huggins owns.
Thank you. If you noticed this fence going up today, that was approved by the DRC. In conjunction with that project, we initiated conversations with Mr. Huggins about potentially leasing that corner lot to extend our existing parking facilities. And he was more than happy to discuss that with us and grant that. The rate that he asked for is $1 per year.
Oh, my God.
I know,
It's just an
I have to
outrage.
adjust the budget now.
It's an outrage.
The only stipulation that Mike asked for, and I'm gonna point it to you I think it's in the use section, because I just added it.
The U section?
The use
Use.
1.3. He asked for a way that that he could get special permit
Right
parking during special events for any tenant that he might have next door. And I didn't see that as a problem, so you see the sentence was added, lessor shall be granted special permit parking for special events at no cost. So we're recommending that you approve this. The town will be
It's just a typo right there.
counted of the R.
Yeah.
Town will be responsible for improvements to that parking lot, and we did discuss that at some length at the last work session for the budget. Our intention would be to improve that parking lot immediately to make it as efficient as possible and maximize parking lot space, but not to spend a lot of money. And then once this project is completed and we're done ripping up the ground out there to lift up this building and put it back down, then there will be a capital project to dress up that as a proper parking lot with decorative fencing.
I'll make a motion.
Why is this,
Well, are there any discussions?
so just effective immediately,
I'll make a.
tomorrow?
It'll be effective when he signs it and we sign it.
So almost immediately.
So it's funny, I think I already almost had his signature because there was a need for a notary. And he was on vacation when I sent this to him and he emailed me and said, Dennis, I can't find a notary. I'll try to find a notary tomorrow. And I said, you don't worry about that. Just wait till we approve it. So I'm very happy. Great partner to work with.
Note that I am a notary.
Oh, very good. That way we know who we have here. Any discussion on this lease? Any comments or questions? All right, there's a motion in your packet.
I'll move to approve the parking lot lease with Mr. Michael Huggins over parcel 195917217003.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Very good. Thank you so much. That lease is approved. There's an item number 8, which is the Christmas market fireworks contract review. And there was the proposal in the email packet that was sent out. I didn't print it out, but many of you may have, or you have seen it. Dennis, you want to lead that conversation?
Yes, so I made the mistake of leaving off the public hearing this evening, though it was,
This is fireworks.
okay.
All right, we're
I
gonna,
was making notes to myself.
yeah, that's everything. No, we're good.
Okay. The fireworks proposal that was brought to us and the board approved a few meetings ago it has in it all of the stipulations that we would require in an agreement or a contract with regard to insurance, the people that are performing have to be certified. And so Jerry, I consulted Jerry, and he said, you know, that is the same thing as a contract. If there was something specific that you want to add to this requirement of the vendor, then we can do that through a separate communication, either through letter or email. No big deal to him, and it counts as a contract. So instead of confusing this, my recommendation would be to rely on the approval of the board back when the original proposal was brought to you and approved. And if there is something that you would like to see stipulated, especially from a Christmas market standpoint, in terms of the timing and everything, we can certainly have that put together in writing and have that put in, added as part of the proposal.
So we do not need a motion today.
I do have.
If there's something that you
No,
want to
yeah,
add. to this.
yeah, and I'm not ready to take a motion, I'm just wanting to clarify something. Go ahead, Amanda.
No worries. So I mean, the proposal that was put out is the same as the pretty, I don't think there's huge differences from the one we saw. So I just wanna verify, is there, so Zambelli Final, am I saying that right? Zambelli will secure all the needed permits unless otherwise specified by the city.
Yep.
In our current drought state, where do we stand with that? And what
He's
is
already received a permit from the Clear Creek Fire Authority.
even though it's like tinder dry?
We are not in a fire ban right now. Also, the fireworks they're using are low fallout. So these are fireworks they use over people. They don't have hot ashes raining down. But Fire Chief Kelly did review the site. He was with him at the Halloween fireworks shooting. And he just issued this permit like 2 weeks ago.
So Kelly's permitted it.
Yep.
What's our exposure if we get to December 12th? And it still hasn't snowed and we still live in Hawaii or wherever we live. No, not Hawaii, Hawaii's nicer.
It's not. Okay.
Like, so are we just out 31K?
No, there is a reschedule policy. We actually, part of the contract includes backup dates, which are close to the event, obviously, but they would reschedule it since higher them, so.
They better still.
We're putting something.
I think that. You know, I don't know about other selectmen, I have not had the strongest positive feedback from some of my board, but I think that it's important that we do recognize that this is a really important goal for BPC and the lodging tax revenues, and I know that this is a big support for the business community, but I think we have to be very cognizant of how the comfort level of residents as we get closer to this and what we can do to message this in a way that will make people not feel like their houses are gonna burn down. Because people are terrified, especially after the Marshall fire and the timing of the Marshall fire, which was a late December event. I just think it's something we have to be cognizant of, and I also think we need to do a little more messaging on like getting it out to the public, so we have attendees. And also, so the people who are not stoked on this can drug their pets and hide their cats or whatever they have to do.
I've been working with our marketing person too. We're going to do an every door direct mailer next week, so.
Thank you so much.
That's good.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I think my big worry is the fact that it's, apparently we live in like the Dust Bowl at the moment.
Some of the developers told me they wanted us to set their fireworks off directly over their house. I mean, we're totally serious, so.
Someone on my street said that?
Pretty close to you, yeah.
That's amazing.
They're probably out of town during.
Yeah, 2 people live on my street, so.
Yeah, your address.
I know, right?
I think a direct mailing is great, except let's remember that people will wait until their post office box is stuffed to the gills. That doesn't mean that they pick it up, so let's use our newsletter, our social
Yeah.
media. You know,
The direct mail.
directed at the town
Right.
so that they are aware, you know, as well as everyone else.
Let's get that vibe playing with the banner.
I love that.
Thank you so much for, yeah, those were my big questions, so.
Thank you. Yeah, anybody else have any chatter or
But it would
conversation?
probably be nice to have, you know, some of those, the important bullets so that for people that are interested in how Christmas market works, would have all that information.
It is a super thorough proposal, like, I mean, I read it back in August, I think, when we heard this, and it is, the proposal's really thorough, and this is a good company. So,
Well, and we had indicated then that we were waiting for something, you know, a formal document to come back to us, and that's why.
I'm glad
We
we had that
understand,
conversation.
when we went and dug that document out and we started thinking about contract, everything we were thinking about in the contract was in that document, so we thought, let's make it simple. Kasia went a little step further and she got a detailed
Breakdown of the shelves.
menu of the shelves.
Yeah, no,
Right, exactly, which is great.
Hey, quick question though, what if people want to bring their own fireworks? So
No.
seriously though, like,
A lot of people have been asking me that, you
That's-
cannot shoot off illegal fireworks at any time, you must have a permit, you must have a license.
You can't do it on the 4th of July.
Well, no, but people still do.
I know.
Well, you can't control every single thing, but people know they're illegal.
But now we have
Well, they know.
98.
That's right, and the commission will already have looked at
And
that December 9th.
maybe the email or whatever goes out should say, by the way, just a reminder,
Oh, that's what I was
you know,
gonna say,
fireworks
just-
are illegal
That's a good
unless
idea.
permitted.
I like that. People.
Yeah.
Fireworks.
Keep your.
So there's a few people that will want to shoot off fireworks
Yeah.
too.
And they're still going to, yes, but let's remind.
But this
that
way, at
that's
least it's a
totally
reminder. So we need a motion to approve the proposal?
Nope.
No, we're good.
Not unless there's something
So no
specific.
motion is needed. Okay, very good. Well, thank you. That's gonna be exciting.
Not a public hearing.
I hope it goes well, I know.
I think it will.
Yeah,
So let's see, now we have the public hearing.
now,
Yeah, that's, item number 9.
All right,
Fine, now you're at item number 9.
item number 9.
That's this, public hearing. We reviewed I reviewed the statute and the, notice was actually, published. And, there was a notice published of the hearing tonight that conforms to the requirements of the statute. It wasn't mentioned in the agenda, but the agenda was amended to reflect a notice that had already gone out and the public was aware of. So what I would recommend is that you open, the public hearing, take any testimony, and after that's done, I'll ask you to take a motion to continue that hearing to December, the board's December the 9th meeting, and direct the staff to repost and publish notice that we've noticed the hearing many times over. So for now, it's just a matter of opening the hearing on the 2025 budget.
So we will,
26 budget, sorry.
sorry, so at 7:17 PM, we are opening a public hearing for comments on the 2026 budget. And we have a couple people online. Did anyone in the audience want to make a comment on the 2026 budget during this public hearings portion of our meeting? No, not here. Okay, Kasia's checking online.
There was 3 people, one just.
I'm sorry, hang
We'll
on.
get you talk later.
Anyone online for, no questions online? I'm sorry, Rob. No.
he's robbing it.
Oh, he's Robbie. Okay, yes.
Publicly posted in the post office and stuff.
It was publicly posted, yes.
It's just that we make our agenda, so we do amend the agenda at the beginning.
But I mean, the whole budget is out there, so.
No, it's available.
The statute says it has to be available at, the office of town clerk, and it was.
So hearing no public comments, we will close the public. I'm
I
sorry.
would recommend somebody, make a motion to
Sorry.
continue the, public hearing on the town's 2026 budget to the board's regular meeting on December 9th, and to direct the staff to, publish and post additional notices of that continued hearing.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Uh,
Any opposed? Thank you. That motion is carried, and now I close the public hearing.
No,
Yes, we're done. Okay, thank you.
so it's still kind of, I'm open up.
So we'll still take public comments.
Thank you. So I have, the only police judge report I have is that the giving day went really well. We collected a lot of food for Loaves and Fishes and also for the senior center. I'm waiting for Loaves and Fishes to get back to me on how many pounds of food they collected, but it's quite a lot. I was really, really happy with that. So thank you. And now we will go into our Board of Selectmen reports, and Mary, will start with you.
Had a brief meeting today with the director of county tourism and our marketing and events manager, myself, and Sadie, what's her last name? Thank you.
Sadie.
Zoomed in regarding the grant that we approved back in August. And so we're taking steps to move forward with that particular project, so stay tuned.
That's it?
Sure.
Okay, thank you. Rich?
Had, two meetings last week, the fire authority board met, got to see a new engine, like a wildfire engine that they, purchased for $91,000. They're sending an old, their older engines that, is scheduled to go out of service for $250,000 to Durango, who has a need. And I was the only one to comment during their budget session, and I just wanted to know how that worked, where that $250,000 went. Since the fire authority even was projected still to operate deficit spending, even with the passage of
The Miller.
the mill levy.
Mhm.
And then Historic Lands Commission met. Cindy's been working very diligently to buy the other half of the mountain up above Silver Plume. And I understand that you've raised, what, 90% of that or more?
Yeah.
We believe that we're at 95.
That's
Beautiful,
great. That's
beautiful work.
wonderful.
Beautiful work. And then, I do have a copy, the borough race will, take place. They still have to file a lot of paperwork with the UK's, but they're proposing a new course since the, trails washed out that they've traditionally used. And it will start and finish same spot, but I think we'll go down Main Street. Yep, and then past my house coming and going and use a little.
And the boroughs will be.
Barrows will be cheering on the boroughs, yes.
Somebody ought to serve burritos at a borough race.
Thank you. That's, thank you on your birthday.
That's the top, that'd be a special.
Thank you.
But they should be filing that course change, so that way,
To the right.
way in advance, yes.
That way, that might help, that could help a lot with the borough race, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
That could help a lot with traffic coming up to go to Guanella Pass. Let's eliminate
As
some,
much as I love explaining to people that it's a circle and they don't have to back up,
yeah.
I will miss my roundabout
post
post. But it'll be a good thing.
Well, I might have to have a borough race.
Yeah, every year,
Yeah.
somebody tries to back up and roundabout, and I tell them, it's a circle.
Thank you.
Okay,
And they blocked the courses and they figured that was the best fit.
and don't forget, it's a fundraiser for Rotary, it's called Call to Duty.
The poop drop.
Anything else?
That was quite enough.
Well, thank you, Rich. Alex? All right, very good. Rob?
Tree lighting's coming up, ladies and gentlemen. And this year, we got something special planned. We're gonna soak the pine in gasoline and light it. That's gonna be our tree lighting. What do you think? That's, it's approaching illegal.
I think fire.
Out
Anything
for me.
to say about that?
I have your hot chocolate.
Thank you.
And your son,
Do you have the containers?
you guys.
What's,
No,
let's talk about
We
that.
found them at there's a community center.
Oh, okay.
But I have your hot chocolate,
Thank you.
excited.
Thank you very much. So ladies and gentlemen, it's gonna be a fantastic tree lighting, and I wish I could say it's all because of me, but. These guys are the reason why. The staff is kicked in, they've been tremendous.
Who's sponsoring s'mores?
I think what was it, it's not Kevin, it's somebody volunteered to do s'mores.
Jordan? How about Carl?
Georgia, I think.
No, I can't do it that Saturday, so Kasia was telling me that
I think
Parks is gonna do it.
Okay,
Town
so.
is, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Cabin Creek is bringing
Oh.
cheese in here, and Mount Mama's is also gonna be serving cocktails in its balls.
At Strauss Park?
That's gonna be so fun.
Looks like-
That's
And
awesome.
James will also be sending people out the door with appropriate containers for
And this is.
That
in
is
the community
awesome. And
center.
is this gonna be publicized of all these things that are
Well,
happening?
it's, you know, it's never really been more, it's never been grand nationalized, it's always been just a local event.
Uh-huh.
And, but it's really gained popularity, and so we see a lot of families come in from, you know, that
Right.
don't live here, and,
Yeah.
it's.
Well, just the things you're having at Strauss Park, like the drinks, the Mountain Mamas, that would be great for people to know, even local people to know.
Absolutely. Well, I've been telling everybody on the construction jobs that I go to about tree lighting, so if you get.
Great.
Blue collar guys.
It's gonna be awesome.
No.
Thank you. Anything else?
Yes, the kids will be singing.
Oh, they're gonna be singing kids, I'll tell you that right now.
They have been
Kids will be singing.
Practicing.
This
also
is the
the
part of the meeting that makes my
That's
head.
awesome.
The end.
report.
No,
Thank you. Rob, anything else to add?
No, that's it, that's it.
All right, very good. Dwayne.
All right, anything?
All right, and Amanda.
Well, so Clear Creek Economic Resiliency Coalition was the day after our last selected meeting. The Lindsay and Doc and Flo have hired a consulting firm to help facilitate some of the big earmarked projects that are on the group's roster for 2026. An updated contact list went out today, and there's some changes need to be made to it if anybody wants to be added to it. I'm listed as the town person for this, but I don't need to be, can be one of you. That's
I think you
so-
are. I think we
appointed
love
you
that.
to be our-
You were
Well,
appointed.
Nobody embraces the enthusiasm.
Doing,
We
no, I
support
actually, I
that
know,
content.
I like the group, and it's good, so the next meeting is we alternate between both Gilpin and Clear Creek. Will be in Gilpin County, sometime in February. And then, yes, the kids are singing, they've been practicing every day.
So cute.
So they will not be, did they find anyone to be Saint Nick?
No, we're not having St. Nicholas for tree lighting.
Okay, but we have Christmas market.
We have Christmas.
Dwayne's picture's all over town on the flyer.
Dude.
I can 3D myself back here from San
We're
Jose.
fine, we're fine. It's all been covered, it's all
So,
been talked about.
But the other thing is we do need
How do I look?
volunteers for, I don't know what HGI's volunteer situation is like for Christmas market, but I know that there's a desperate need for bell ringers. For the Salvation Army, that email went out, and then there's also a pretty desperate need for brat booth helpers, which we do go through every year.
Is this like
That's-
during Christmas market?
This is during Christmas market, so
Okay.
the bell ringer shifts are an hour. And they're very low key, but they're really important to our local Red Cross chapter, which is run by Tracy Troya. And then the school's brought booth fundraiser is also a really big deal. We raised about $7,000.
Fundraiser for
It's the biggest fundraiser of the year.
community organization.
And I don't know what the community centers
And it's
volunteer situations like either, but I know that the ones I just met, I'm willing to go to the community center, everybody needs help for Christmas market,
The
so.
library needs them for the book
Yeah,
sale
so
too.
find time to go out and support one of the community organizations
I'm
or,
busy.
yeah.
I think, a little. Thank you, Amanda. Anything else?
No.
I have a
Okay, very
question,
good.
is the school doing a walk run on Thanksgiving?
There is a turkey trot that was scheduled for Thanksgiving morning. It was a last minute but exciting new event by our new PTO chair. Who I'm really excited for. She's enthusiastic about it. So it is $10 and the proceeds benefit the school if you wanna walk around, take a lap around the lake.
I did see
Where
that.
does it start and finish? There's folks asking online.
I could not tell you because it is not my event, but let me see what I can find out for you.
Yay, Amanda.
So in the meantime, so
Very good. Well, thank you. While Amanda's looking that up, we can move on. A town attorney report. Do you have anything, Jerry?
I don't.
Very good. Okay, town clerk's report. You have that in your packet. Bridge is talking about the online payment receipting.
We
Yeah.
gave early start to two of our employees for Thanksgiving
Very good.
travel, and so Bridget and Q are not here this evening, but their written reports
Are in the packet.
are in the packet, and I will point out that the audit is nearing the finish line. We got the report that they're done and they are finishing up their report, so that will be coming to you shortly.
Very good. Thank you.
are you gonna share the SOPs for agenda procedures at a later time that's reflected Are we going to,
I thought I sent those out in the Friday email.
Bridget's people?
Yeah, parking lot across from Cabin Creek.
Oh, so the, like the unparking lot.
I believe it's the parking.
Okay.
There,
Assistant
Thank you.
Town Administrator report. Kasia, you again have your report in here. Anything you want to add or comment on?
We do have the ice driving calendar and we're planning on sending out information to ice drivers tomorrow, which is what they requested last meeting, so.
And I committed to updating the rules and regulations, and now I'm gonna take a breath after tonight and get that done.
Great, awesome. Thank you. I was gonna ask you about that and very good. Anything else?
I don't think so.
Okay. Then this your Town Administrator report.
Sure.
You have a insert in the packet. I didn't know if you wanted to comment on anything there or.
Nope, I think it's self-explanatory. If
Okay.
you have any questions on that, if there's anything else that's come up. I did send you an updated email today on a couple of items. The water main break was repaired yesterday. And so now we've called in the crew to replace the asphalt. The other thing, we've been receiving calls about the water bills. And there was an overlap in terms of when the checks that were paid were credited to the system and when we closed the period.
We put the checks in November and the balance reflects as of the end of October. And so it's showing people that they owe us money, but then underneath that, so if anyone asks you this, it'll say last payment received. And if that says a November date, then you can assure them that you have accounted for that check. It is present in their account. They can call us for a balance update if they would like. And wow, we cannot wait for express bill pay. It's gonna be so great.
That's gonna
what is, what is the date that they are supposed to bill out?
The water bills? Mary was very consistent about sending them out between the first and the third.
Okay, and we don't follow that, so what is the expectation for our community, because this is not the first time this has happened. So, and even as far as with a new, online payment, what would be an expected date, so people.
Well, the new online payments will reduce that time by a lot, assuming, most people switch over to that, because all of those checks will be automatically applied to everyone's account, so we will not have the labor of manually entering everybody's checks and online payments into their account in Cassell, because however you make the payment, we have to manually add it to 700 accounts every month, so, and we are, the staff as it is just not as fast at that as Mary Sims was, so I try to get out as early as possible. We're reading meters tomorrow. I will probably do some checks over the weekend so that we can not send them out so late.
The other thing that we are working on is cross-training people that are currently in the office. So Bridget has been training a lot on different things like cash receipting, and this is one other thing. So that when we have somebody who's responsible for this, like Kasia, who is very busy, and she has to go off and do a couple other things that it won't bog down the system. So we're hoping that once we get that cross-training done, we can have a couple people that can step in and do that and keep it on track without missing a beat on the other things that we have on our plate.
So you've got a great explanation, and when would an expected date be? An anticipated date, but the information would be uploaded, whether it's online or whether it's mailed in the mail, not that people have received it, but that they can access it.
Our goal is to
First
get.
of the month, the 5th of the month,
Our goal is to
pick a
get
day,
the way Mary Sims did it.
pick a day.
We want to get back to that. Between the first and the third.
Because
Okay.
it's an aggravation that some of us hear a lot of comments on, and we all experience it too. So, the information isn't, we're not caught off guard in the fact that it
No,
happened,
absolutely.
but when questioned, it would be nice to have a firm answer.
That's the firm answer and the firm commitment. We're trying to get back to the first and third.
Thank
We
you.
want people to think this is the way it was before, this is the way we liked it, and that's the way it is.
It could be the 15th,
Great, thank you.
just a bit. Great.
I understand. Thank you for the flexibility.
Absolutely.
That's
So, Jerry, we're going into,
Rob has the motion.
I move to go into executive session under CRS 24-6-402-4A. For a conference with the town attorney, town administrator, and the appropriate staff to discuss possible acquisition of real estate property. I further move to adjourn the board meeting at the conclusion of the executive session.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Very good. Thank you so much. And we will now take a break to make